Hello, my name is Teresa Daly. I am originally from the Boston area for several years and moved in different parts of New England, Massachusetts, and now I am in New Hampshire. And I grew up in a Catholic family, Roman Catholic. Um, we went to church every Sunday. Um, I'm from a large family, one of 11. I am the ninth. My name Teresa I was named after Saint Teresa, the little flower, because she was the ninth in her family. By the time they got to me, I think they ran out of names. Um, but I would say my first encounter with God, to my knowledge, to my memory, was when I was probably about maybe 7 or 8 years old. My brother had been put in jail for manslaughter, and we were hoping to get him out. And I was young; I didn't know anything about anything like that. And but I knew that he needed to get out, so I went to church, and it might have been Sunday, and I just remember crying and praying, and just kind of begging God to please, let him out. And when I got home after that, my parents had just arrived back from visiting him, and they told me that he was getting out. So that was just kind of okay. There's something to this prayer thing. Um, and Then growing up in a large family was a little chaotic, and got involved. Didn't I guess my self-esteem may have been affected, and started getting into drugs, hanging out with the wrong crowd. Um, and then I ended up trying to commit suicide a couple of times, but one of the times it was I just remember leaving school. I was in high school, my second year, junior year, I think, and of high school, and went out to the grounds and ended up taking a walk um, to another field nearby in the area that I grew up in, and started to take my life, uh, slice my wrist. But while I was doing it, I was praying just for uh, some help, and I felt something that some presence was there. I don't know if it was angelic. I want to say angelic, um, but something else was there, and something made me stop. And I called my parents. My dad picked me up. We went to the hospital. Um, but not a whole lot changed. I was still went through a lot. I ran away a lot. I actually ran away to Florida, and a lot of different things happened when I did that. And I was 15, so um, coming back from there, went through a lot of family stuff. I wasn't gone long. I was only gone a couple of days because I had a bad experience. And when I came back, kind of just realized I needed some counseling. Um, Went to live at a hospital, McLean Hospital. I don't know if anyone's familiar with it. Kind of was in an adult um, child unit with other kids, pretty much teen years, dealing with adolescence. And that helped dramatically, but it also got me closer to myself, to my spirit, to the being within me. It was only still the beginning, though. Since that, after that, I went on with my life. Did some counseling for a while. Didn't really. I prayed, but I didn't. Yeah, I there was no ritual. There was no. It was more of a connection, and then got married. Went through a divorce at the same time. My dad um, had died, so it was a very traumatic, one of the hardest things that I've gone through. I started going back to church, um, and I was being fed only to a short degree. But I moved on, um, and actually, when my dad died at the wake, somebody had mentioned that I had fallen off a second story porch when I was 2 years old. And I said, oh, no, that's not me. Because my brother had fallen off a different house. And that was very traumatic. But mine was never really talked about. Um, and I just kind of washed it away because nobody really knew anything. Nobody knew anything. I was just when I inquired. Then I was married, got divorced, and trying to find my way. I did it, was getting into a lot of different meditations. I ended up getting into a lot of yoga, different types of yoga. The power yoga was becoming very popular, but there was something that was missing in that for me. For me, it was body, mind, and spirit. And it seemed that the spirit part of it was missing. So I kind of backed away from the yoga a little bit, and more following the spirit part. Moved in with my mom temporarily, which turned out to be about 20 years, 15 years maybe. And but a good part of it was being there for her. Nobody was at the house at that point living with her, and she needed more care. And so a good part of 5 years of that anyways was actually more than that, but was caring for her, just being um keeping an eye on her, getting her out, um managing the house, her medications, her social life, her spiritual life. um and we were both growing through this. I learned a lot about her. We became close, but I also dealt with a lot of my family members. There wasn't a lot of support. One would think that with a large family, you would, but there wasn't. And in the midst of that, I had two sisters who passed away 2 months apart from cancer. And I didn't really deal with it. I mean, grief is difficult, and here I am taking care of my mom, trying to help her deal with her grief. So we did the best that we could. We just kept moving on. She just wanted to keep busy. And then after she passed away, um, it was pretty challenging. I had probably was sleep deprived, and but my spare time was connecting with nature and praying. Some meditation was getting less and less, and that was really all I had. All I kept saying was thank God for God throughout that whole journey, and grateful to have been on that journey. Um, After that, I had a couple of accidents, so I kind of got set back. I realized I hadn't grieved my sisters, and still grieving my mom. Trying to get on with my life. Was going to do some missionary work and realized that's not for me. Still seeking, but it's every day. Every day is a gift and a blessing. One of the things that quotes that my dad used to say, we found it after he passed, and I'm not sure. I believe I couldn't find it anywhere on the internet, so I believe he wrote it. It's, I remember to remember everything I need to know in every moment of time and of space. And I used to have my mom say it so she would remember in her mind everything. Sometimes she would forget. And but after she passed, I took it a whole different way. I remember to remember who I am. It's a spiritual. Um, he was very spiritual in the end. Challenging as it was for the two of them, it was also challenging for us kids. But he became more spiritual in his later years, and that was a gift to me, to all my family. But that quote itself, it takes me back to remembering who I am, and what I'm a part of is something bigger. Um, so now I'm in New England, growing. Through after having the accident, I discovered centering prayer. I happened to be in Boston going to church service, and they had to at St. Anthony Shrine in Boston. They had a centering prayer practice. I had never heard of it. I also discovered adoration, and I loved that, the little chapels, and there's not a lot of them. And but the centering prayer has been just a gift throughout this part of the journey, and continues on. And now we have the meditation room, and we have Sadhu doing a couple of them Wednesdays and Sundays, and those are my two go-tos when I can make it. And otherwise, the centering prayer, I do it on my own. But the one with Sadhu, the healing, and the fully awake, they're different, but there's a presence there, and all of the participants. There's a divine connection, and it's kind of neat that we're in different parts of the world, and yet we connect through spirit. And I think that's probably about it. I'm actually, even right now, I'll just say I'm in a phase in my life coming into I'm in my 60s. So, and with the COVID, had a huge impact. Just trying to allow the presence that's within me to be. And I guess, yeah, years ago, my sister was in the hospital and she was in the emergency room, and it was 2B was her room number. But ever since then, that has stuck with me, and it's to be or not to be. That is the question. And my choice is always to be here now. I know Jesus said, be still and know. So it's just in the stillness and centering prayer, to be and not to be. I choose to be present, to be connected. There's something within me and within everything, in the animals. I love nature. I love going to the beach and just watching the surfers in North Beach. And that's just the water itself, the waves, and just the trees, just recognizing and constantly being aware and reminding myself that I am a part of something that I have no idea what it's all about. But even just looking at the sky at night, the stars, and sometimes, seeing shooting stars, it's just it's a beautiful, it's a beautiful thing. Thank you. Blessings to everyone. Thank you.